the unbounded freedom, which is already here, which is who you actually are, but simply your focus is placed in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your energies. Your attention and focus is placed not on the unbounded freedom. The unbounded freedom, the unbounded now, is already here, just like the air which is all around us, just like the space which is all around us. But how many are noticing the air all around us? How many are noticing the space all around us? So there is a tendency to look at objects, to look at things, to look at thoughts, to look at feelings, and to look at energies. There is a tendency to look at everything which is a passing phenomena, to look at that which is changing, and forgetting the context where all of that is happening. What is the deepest ground of being? Where is that freedom when everything is changing? This tendency is even deeper than habitual. It is even deeper than instinctual. So the tendency to place your focus and attention on that which is changing, it is even deeper than instinctual tendency, than your habits, than your beliefs, than your thoughts. To discover how things work, we need to go right to the core from where it all began. What is the actual cause of our involvement in the thinking process, being entangled and mixed up with the mind? Or those who are more advanced, still being mixed up with energies, or perhaps your chakras, or any other kind of energies. So there's a constant involvement and a constant mixing up between who are you, your own identity, and that which is experienced. In order to return to the boundless freedom, we need to examine how does it function, how does it work. So we will recognize that our attention and focus is the key. Our attention and focus is that which is always keeps us occupied with what is happening. And perhaps only at night, when we are exhausted of the daytime, our attention focus drops into the heart and we experience that sense of home, a sense of peace. Everything is done, nothing more to do, nowhere else to go. So you see, your attention and focus is so much involved with the thinking process. On average human person has about 90,000 thoughts a day. Where do they fit in your head? So many. 90,000 thoughts a day. Most of the humanity is completely identifying with that chaos in their head. You know, all these 90,000 thoughts in their mind. A little closer to the real present moment is your feeling. Is the actual feeling of your body. In order to feel your body, you have to be present already. You see? To feel your senses, to feel your body, you already need to be present here and now. So that is one step deeper. You will examine that your attention and focus then gets involved into the inner world, into the inner feelings. So you start sensing that you have these chakras, these energy centers. You start sensing that, they are also always changing. They have specific qualities. But the circumstances, and there are so many different energies that can be felt through your chakras. So the inner world is actually much bigger than the outer world. In the inner world, you may discover the whole universe, because the inner world is the world of energy and bigger spaces. By going inside, you expand, you experience much more subtler dimensions, much more subtler energies. So the inner world is even bigger in terms of how many energies there might be, and how many experiences one can experience inside. It is literally endless. It is literally endless, as big as the whole universe. One can meditate in terms of experiences for decades, still experience something new. There's always something more and more and more and more. So where is the end? Where is home? Where is the end? Coming back to attention, you will recognize that it is your attention which is traveling actually, isn't it? It is your attention being involved in these experiences and energies and different spaces. Even that realization alone, that it is your attention which is traveling all the time everywhere, is already a big realization in itself. Because you will recognize the real cause of the feeling of longing. You will recognize the real cause of the feeling of searching, the inner incompletion, that something is missing. It is because your attention is always searching, looking, trying to find something, to go somewhere. It's never enough. There's always more. It wants more. There's always more. And so now, since we identified that the attention is the real problem, it's constantly going somewhere, traveling somewhere, experiencing something. So since we have identified the problem, where is the root of it? From where does attention arise? Let's ask this question. Who knows? From where does attention arise? It seems that attention and focus arises from your head, isn't it? From your head, and particularly from your third eye, you may say. Because from here you would mostly look and search. But if you shift your focus into the heart, you will see that in the heart it is the inner world of searching. But the heart is closer than the mind searching, isn't it? The heart is closer. You will examine that your attention at first is always here, it's very habitual. But then as you settle more into meditation, you experience that it can drop into the heart, it feels more at home. And there's a certain inward movement. It's already starting to find something, isn't it? That becomes a bit more satisfying, slightly more satisfying, but not the ultimate satisfaction. So you may say that your attention focus arises from your heart, but if you go even deeper, you will find that it arises not from the heart chakra as such. It arises actually from the heart on the right. And this heart on the right is the actual Amrita Nadi. Now that may, for some of you it may be new. For those who have explored much deeper Advaita Vedanta or Ramana's teaching, you will recognize that there were a few things mentioned about it. The heart on the right, Amrita Nadi, that is the seat of the self. That is the seat of consciousness. That is the channel of bliss. The seat of the self. So your attention actually arises from the heart on the right, then it shoots up into the brain and it takes over the brain. The attention focus then takes over the brain, and then we're experiencing the world of the mind, which is our thoughts, perceptions, ideas. However, your senses are present. Your seeing is present. It's simple, you know. Your seeing is present. Your hearing is present. Tasting, touching, smelling is all present. Your body is always here. So this body actually is very useful. It's a very useful tool. How to return back into the consciousness. Because it's always here. It's not emotional. You know, emotions are changing. Thoughts are changing, so you will not find consciousness. But body is here. It's the anchor, anchoring you into the present moment until you will fully settle in and become unbounded, limitless space, being, now. So the way with examining, we will find that our attention and focus actually arises from the heart on the right. It is just about 2 to 5 centimeters on the right side from your center of your chest. The heart on the right. You can actually bring your hand and just try to feel that, just very slightly, that perhaps there is a certain slight energetic feeling, or maybe you're already starting feeling some pressure. It takes a little while to sense into it, but bit by bit it will become more and more evident. Most of the people who have meditated for a while, who are energetically sensitive, they would sense it very easily. So from this place it is that the attention and focus, it twists. It is in the heart and the right that your attention twists and becomes a small narrow stream which shoots up into your head. So the way it actually works, that in reality you are already, in the real reality, you are free. You are already the self. You are already consciousness itself. Unbounded, simply unbounded. Unbounded means not bound. And where does the bondage come from? It is actually from this place that the attention and focus, from being unbounded total, it then twists as a slight vortex. It's actually a reversed vortex. It twists as a slight reverse vortex, and now the unbounded awareness becomes twisted into a small stream. It's like trying to put the whole ocean into a small stream. It doesn't work like that. we come to realize and to actually measure even scientifically that the average human person has only 4% their Amrita Nadi open. The heart on the right is only 4% open for the average human person. 96% is veiled. It's closed. We call it the solar eclipse. The sun is the heart on the right. It's the bliss. It's the fountain. It's the source of the self. And it's 96% eclipsed for the average human person. So we need to recognize that the attention and focus is actually slightly reversed as a reversed vortex, and from here now it rises as only a very small stream into the head, into the brain, and now the whole perception of reality narrows down into a very single focused, single attention focused reality. It's like having a whole pie but only receiving a very small slice of the whole thing. So even though the reality is completely open, completely here now, but the human being sees only consciously, perceives only a small slice of it, and somehow ignores all the rest. So this is where the sense of separation arises. This is where the sense of the I feeling arises, that it is me, myself, or I, as a separate, individual, personal identity. Now, since it has been within every one of you for many decades, you made it home. You made that little self home. Of course, you try to do best out of it, So everybody kind of found a cozy corner, how to make it sort of home. But it's such a huge maintenance. It's such a big maintenance to keep that home happy, because very rarely it is happy. More that little I, that little self is more of a trouble bag. It's always confused, it's always anxious, always doubtful, worried, and sometimes peaceful, sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes. So of course, without knowing what's the real cause and what's the actual thing happening, we kind of made home that little self, that small stream of attention. But the problem is that because of that small stream of attention, the energies got interlocked. And that's called the wheel of Dharma, or the wheel of karma. The energies got interlocked. Everything was limited and locking, since the very young age. This is how the mind, or to be more precise, the energies got interlocked with the identification of the small self. So because of the small self, the energy started interlocking, and this is how the mentality, the mental framework became structured. Because of these interlocks, the mind became structured, it became solid, it became densified as a mental/emotional density. It's still the mind, it's still energy. It's not, the mind, when you examine, there is no mind. It's actually energy conditioned and interlocked. There is no mind, it's only energy interlocked. And because of those interlocking thoughts are constantly trying to remind you your energy is locked up. Something is wrong. So thoughts are only a consequence of interlocked energies. We will understand because of these interlocked energies, we experience a lot of stress, a lot of tensions, a lot of fears, anxieties, and a very big sense of inner discomfort, inner solidity, and a big feeling of something is wrong. Or in another way, a feeling of longing, searching with why would we long and search? Because we know that something is missing. That knowing is correct. It reminds you that something is actually missing. Freedom is missing. Boundlessness is missing. Your true natural self is missing. So now we examined the actual problem, the mechanics of the actual problem, and from where it arises. This knowledge alone, what you have heard right now, it is already a 50% solution to enlightenment, to the full consciousness. If you will really dig into this deeper and deeper and deeper, and examine, like the scientist, how does it really work, this whole thing, what I just said, how does it really work? Only that inquiry will already set you halfway through free. The only missing link, why I'm saying halfway through, so you can do a lot by only knowing the real actual problem. You can do already a lot. But the problem is that you will lack ability or strength or insight to find those deeper locks, karmic locks, conditional locks, because they are subconscious. With your conscious mind, you can only understand fully the problem, which is already a big deal. But then the locks, the actual locks, are energetic, and they are in the subconsciousness and unconsciousness. So there you might need some help from those, or from the one who has already been there, done that, and who is already free and liberated. So that is the assistance that is needed to open those specific locks, karmic locks, so that you become more and more free, ultimately totally free. Knowing the root problem is immensely important, because the root problem already contains the answer. How many people do you know on earth who know the actual problem? So now, since we know the problem, let's come now to the actual solution. And how will you feel once it's gone? How will you feel once it's resolved? Now, many of you have ideas of enlightenment. Many of you have seen pictures and videos, and oh, it's supposed to be like this or like that. It seems completely, you know, the guru tradition followed this way or that way. These are only a few examples, and usually by gurus, how it looks like. But there are many misconceptions. And actually many gurus do not empower people to actually awaken themselves. They do not point to the actual root cause, and you know, then you would need to ask how many students have awakened if you want to examine the efficiency of the guru or the teacher. So how many students have awakened into realization? That is a good measuring point to know, you know, is the teacher really helping others to awaken? Or just giving more experiences, you know, more things to do, more better experiences, you know? That's a big one, you know, to give better experiences, which is still, you know, energetic experiences. So a good measuring point is how many students has the teacher helped to actually realize and awaken. So how will you feel once the inner attention is resolved? Once this root problem is resolved. So the way that you will feel is that nothing is missing anymore. That's number one. You will feel that you don't need to look for anything anymore because you found it. You are home already. You will feel that there is no more longing. That there's no more longing for love or for peace or for happiness or anything else. You will feel that there is no inner bondage, no inner contraction, no inner bondage, no inner limitation inside you. You will feel that there's no one anymore opposing you inside you. The inner opposition, you know, the good voice and the bad inner voice, you know, and they constantly chat in your head. They constantly battle with themselves. The little angel and the little devil in the mind. So that conflict is resolved. So there's no inner opposition, no inner judgment that I'm not good enough, that I can't do this, that, you know, I never can do this, or it never happens, or, you know, so there's no more inner victimization. There's no more inner abusiveness. Because sometimes we want to do things right, but it doesn't happen, and we cause more trouble to ourselves. There's no more inner suffering. Inner suffering. Your body relaxes because nothing is locked up anymore. You know, it's a very relaxed way of being. Relaxed but very aware, very alert, very much here now. Totally here now, aware, alert. Very much like a cat, you know, the cat. The cat just lays and, you know, you just cuddle her, and then she hears a little noise somewhere and immediately up, and she can go and hunt, you know, like it's such an amazing creature, the cat. So relaxed, most of the time totally chilling. But some slight little noise somewhere and she's full on, you know. You know, it's amazing. So the same way inside you, you're totally relaxed, but there's such a high nowness, such a huge awareness of the now, that you're simply completely aware of what's going on in a very relaxed way. There's no much effort as such. So the inner struggle is released. The inner struggle is gone. The inner opponent is gone. And inner resistance is also dissolved. The resistance to what happens. The resistance to what is. The inner resistance is gone. So now tell me, how would you feel? Amazing. Free, isn't it? Very liberating. Wow, all this trouble, all this crap is gone. It's celebration, isn't it? And then, depending on your energetic configuration, you will feel nice feelings. You know, if you're more heart-centered, you will feel love. You know, it will be very natural. If you're more mind-centered, or, you know, maybe male or so, you will feel very peaceful generally. There's nothing opposing in your head, nothing contradicting itself. Everything is quite clear and obvious. You know, the inner confusion is gone. So it's like, oh, my mind is clear. It's open. No mind. Open, clear. So depending on your energy configuration, on your body as it is right now, you will feel more or less things in much more purer way. Oh, probably you will not become like Ramana, you know, or like Krishna, you know, or like somebody else, because these beings are higher beings. They're avatars. They are great souls. They're great souls. They have gone through a lot of energy work, energy purification in their past lifetimes. You know, the avatars, ascended masters, these are great souls who have gone through countless of lifetimes of energy purifications. But that's a whole different story. Energy purifications, whether the actual awakening, full consciousness, realizing who you already are. So that there's a very big confusion between energy purifications and who you really are. Who you really are, you already are here now, but without all that baggage, once it's dropped. Now to become a saint or angel or avatar or ascended master, well, that's a big job. That is a big job. And it's many countless of lifetimes of energetic mastery, energetic purifications and mastery of energy. Now that's a whole different path. That path, you know, it's a very big job. It is also what we teach, it is also what I bring forward, but that is another path. It's the path of ascension. It's the path of self-mastery, the path of becoming a teacher and a master. That's another thing. However, to awaken into who you already are as the boundless total now freedom, that is the first task at hand. Because first we have to tackle the real problems that everybody's facing to become free of those problems, and then we can speak about the path of mastery. But that's after. It's usually after, or sometimes it comes together. So let's be clear that awakening is available. It is who you are, and yes, there are problems that need to be dealt with. That namely being the attention, which is contracted from the Amrita Nadi, which blocks it, and then the whole thing of mixing up, interlocking, conditional reality becomes relatively real, or it seems to be real. It is a conditional reality. It seems to be real. It feels to be real, but it's not real. It's conditional. Because the real reality is unconditional. It's unbounded. So it is a human condition. It is the original error. It is the original problem, which causes all the suffering in the whole human civilization. So you will find that you were looking for two things. One is for desire of something that you don't have, or the second one is the desire to not have what you already have. For example, confusion, or fear, or anxiety, or worry, or resistance. So the mind is living on desire, for searching something it doesn't have, or for not wanting what it already has. seeing the problems of what it already has. And that's a dog chasing its own tail. The mind searching. Searching means looking for something. It means that our attention is projecting somewhere else and trying to find something somewhere else. And now we realize that we have to drop the whole search, we have to drop the whole traveling outside or inside, and that's how we experience the open now. So now let's dedicate some time for individual inquiry. And yes, we can start from this side.
Yeah, I really love this practice. It's very accessible.
Yes.
It's very accessible. And it's easy, effective, fast, and useful.
Yes.
Just, and it feels like home.
Mm.
I am...
Of course, bliss is home. Okay.
Although I can feel the nadi in my energy body quite distinctly. If I take my attention there, I feel like I can keep my attention there for a while. But I don't get the feeling of of traction. Right?
Don't get a feeling of contraction?
It's like when you're trying to put the motorbike or car in a gear and it doesn't catch. So I'm really trying to kind of become one with it. And
No. All you need to do is just to drop your attention. Drop the effort. First bring your attention into the heart on the right, and then drop the effort to keep it there.
Yeah, but it feels like I'm not connecting with it. Like I feel it there, I see it there. But when I put my attention there, it's like...
No. You are trying to connect with Amrita Nadi. That's what you're trying to do. I'm telling you first, bring your attention into the chest, into the heart on the right, and drop your attention. Let it go. Let go of the effort and stay.
And that's different than connecting with it.
It's totally different than trying to connect with Amrita Nadi. It's different.
No, that's thanks for the question.
If you try to connect with Amrita Nadi, it's blocked already. Of course it's hard. I'm telling you a way round, a back door. Yes. It's a back door.
Okay. In that case, it worked.
I think I did the same thing. I was trying so hard to grab it and to get it going, but what's going to happen? I have no idea. Let's continue. But now when you say, when you're there, when your attention is on it, then you drop the tension, drop the effort.
Yes.
That, I never did that.
Yes. And that's where the attention is released and Amrita Nadi opens by itself more. So you may start a certain warmth, you may feel bliss, because that's even purer to feel bliss actually there. But you may feel as a warmth or as a widening. Before that you may feel some pressure or tension that something is crammed over there. And then you loosen it up, you loosen up the cramming, the pressure or the tension. And you loosen it up, you drop it, drop the effort, and then Amrita Nadi overshines by itself. You don't need to try to connect with it. Very well.
Like the space.
So like a space, yes. So you were noticing the space, yes. Noticing the space. Yes. So you see, these are still things. The space, the silence. So if you drop noticing if you drop noticing the space or silence, just for a moment drop it. Drop noticing space on silence and just look around a bit. It's all already open here. All of it is already here. That is the real thing. The space and silence is only a part of the whole thing. So that's why there are many things inside, an inner peace, an inner stillness, inner space, cosmic space, universal space, a galaxy, a planet. There are so many things that we can notice, but drop noticing and you're already immediately here with everything.
Can I ask you something? I have this strong feeling with the sound. The sound is like bring me in the present moment. It's like the door for me. Like when I'm doing something and I hear sound, it's like all the time bring me in the present moment.
Yes.
You still say that they are not the same, but I don't feel that I am the sound. It's like the sound bring me now.
Yeah, it helps you to come back more to the present moment. And what is the present moment? It's all of it.
It's like...
No, what, Mama? What is a present moment? And speak now. What do you see in the present moment? Everything which is already here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So it's
like to be here.
It's like to be here.
Without going here and there.
Yes. And if you drop noticing and being involved into space or this or that, you will feel all of it already. Actually, you feel all of it already, because you are already aware of all of this already. But you can't put your finger on it and keep it like that. But you're already aware of all of it. And if you drop noticing or the inner tension, oh, I'm free with all of this. So in this case, I just need to say that you also need to stop noticing a space or peace or stillness, because these are little pieces of the whole thing. And if you...
Attention, where you say no notice, but the practice, which practice? Is like to keep on coming in the present moment.
I want you to completely stop thinking and stop noticing and just see that you're already aware of everything completely right now. Can you confirm that you're already aware completely right now? Yes. Trying to understand and what it means and to keep it, that is the mind. That is the mind. But for that moment in which you said, yes, I'm aware of right now already, that's it. That's the whole thing. But then, okay, so what do I do about it? That's the mind. So you need to relax your mind to know that the whole thing is already here. What do you want to do with this? It's already here. You just need to relax and be free. Now it's not easy because the mind is sticky. It's very sticky. It's always gonna want to know more, to understand more, and like, oh, what's this tiny thing here, or oh, what's this big thing here, and it just always jumps into something. So you need to relax that tendency to constantly go somewhere out of the now, to abide here freely, to be here freely. It's a relaxation. It's dropping your mind, dropping your attention focus. And of course it's not easy because the mind is very sticky. So anything that you experience is good. It's required, it's part of the healing process. You know, it's all fine. But the practice should be always remembered to that it's not about experience as such. It is about dissolving the attention into the heart on the right so that the heart on the right reopens fully, because that's what's gonna make you free.